Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna and welcome again to Shri Shri Damodarashtakam class. Today we are concluding for this week and then we will resume again next week. So today we are discussing texts 4 and 5. We have spent most of the time doing texts 1 to 3 and now we had just completed text 4. So, after finishing yesterday, text 4, we began the thematic flow that these two texts have. Actually, they very naturally bleed right into each other. The first, text 4, very naturally flows into text 5. Again, not grammatically like texts 1 and 2. We were discussing texts 1 and 2 as being the one big sentence. Namamishvaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalang Gokule Bhrajamanam Yashodabhiyo Lukaladhavamanam Param Rishtamatyantato Drute Gopya Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugmam Rijantam Karambhoja Yugmena Satanka Netram Muhushvasakam patri rekhanka kantha sthita graivam damodaram bhakti baddham. So these two lines, they completely compose just one big sentence, one big Sanskrit sentence about Namami. Who am I worshipping? Who am I giving my humble obeisances to? This is what this text is discussing, and quite naturally, after discussing it, then a further discussion is made. So, in these first two texts, there is the discussion first of Tattva, the nature of the Supreme Lord, very much filled with Dasya Ras, the mood of the servant. Then after this mood of Dasya Ras, a little bit more is elaborated upon in Vatsalya Ras, in the mood of the parent. In this mood, we find the discussions of text 4 and 5. But before we get to that Vatsalya Ras, again, after this discussion in Dasya Ras, very much beginning, Ishvaram Sachidananda Rupam. Then we hear more in the Dasya Ras, but at least in a sweeter form of the Dasya Ras. Lasat Kundalang Gokule Bhrajamanam. We hear about the form, qualities, and associates of this Ishvaram, which then culminates into Yashodabhiyo Lukaladhavamanam Param Rishtamatyantato Drutya Gopya. Pastime. And then hearing these pastimes, we hear a greater description culminating in Damodaram Bhakti Badham. That Damodar who is bound by the rope at the belly, he is bound ultimately only by devotion. Then we come to text 3. Text 3. Iti drikswa lila bhir ananda kunde Swagosham nimajantam akhyapayantam Tadiyeshita gyeshu bhaktarjita tvam puna prematastam shakta vritivande. Here we hear the nature of hearing these pastimes. What is the nature of the broadcasting of these pastimes? What does this pastime do to those who see the pastimes? Witnessing this pastime, what is the result? This is the nature of the third text. And then we come to the shift, text 4. After having witnessed these pastimes, what does Satyavrata Muni pray? Varam deva mokshana mokshavadhim va nachanyam vrineham vareshadapiha idante vapurnatha gopala balam sada me manasya virastam kimanyai. Oh, boons, moksha, varam mokshana mokshavadhimva. I do not want boons, liberation, or any of the muktis that are available. Oh Deva, oh personality who is constantly manifesting so many sweet pastimes. Nachanyam, nor do I want anything else, any other benefit from Shravanam, Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. From all of these 9 forms of bhakti, I do not want any of their results, any of the glories that they can give, any of the forms of mukti. I don't want any of them, and I don't want anything that can be given to me. All of these I reject. All of them I do not pray for. Vrineham, Vareshad. Oh, you who can give any boon, because I know you can give anything, but I do not want any of these things. Apeha, in here in Vrindavan, where they are so readily available, I want only one thing, and I want one thing that is available only in Vrindavan. And what is that? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead may ask, well, if you do not want all of these things, then what do you want? Satyavrata Muni says, Idante vapurnatha gopala balam sada me manasya virastam. I only want this beautiful, divine, young cowherd boy form of yours to be constantly and eternally in my heart. I want nothing else, only this form. And if I can have this form constantly in my heart, then I am pleased. Then I am having all happiness. And having all happiness, I am very, very self-satisfied. So then the Supreme Lord, He may say, okay, well, why not? I will give you this form, but I will give you all the other things as well. What does Satyavrata Muni say in response to this? Kim anyahi? What is the use of any other thing? If I have this form in my heart, then all other things are useless. All other things have no value. Why? Because if I do not have this form of yours, O Lord, then there is nothing that is of value of me. There is nothing that can be useful to me. But if I have this form, then I have all I need. There is nothing else I can have. There's nothing else that could contribute anything at all. Forget about anything else I need. There's nothing else that can contribute anything to my life. So please, Krishna, do not waste your energy by giving me anything else than this beautiful form as a cowherd boy. Again, we are finding the Dasya Ras now is going away. The prayers to the Supreme Lord, as in the mood of a servant, are moving away, and now there is a genuine greed, a genuine hankering for Vatsalya Ras. So then, the Supreme Lord, he may say, okay then, okay, I understand. But maybe I can give you some other form you can meditate upon, as well as this Gopal form. Maybe there are many Vaikuntha forms. Many Vaikuntha forms that are very sweet. Maybe even the forms of Ramchandra. Such sweet forms. To which Satyavrata Muni again, what does he say? Kim Anyaihi. What use are they? They are beautiful. They are Satchidananda Rupa. They are transcendental, wonderful forms. But they also have no value to me. Not because they are valueless, they are filled with so much value, so much eternal value. So much eternal value and import. These are very, very, very important things. However, I hunger only for this one thing. I have this very, very specific desire. And this very specific desire can only be satisfied, oh Lord, can only be satisfied by this specific form. Therefore, oh Lord, I ask only for this form. Kim Anyahi. They can give me nothing, these other forms. As beautiful as they are, as much as they can give, they have no value to me. No value at all. Again, they are so valuable. But Lord, I have this attachment to you. Not just Lord, not just Ishvar, Krishna, and not just Krishna, Gopala Balam. This form is the one that has captured my heart. This is the form that I desire. This is the form that I want to hold on to. Oh, Supreme Lord, this is the only thing that can satisfy me. And therefore, Kim Anyahi. Then we hear the next text. Idante mukham bhojam atyanta nilair vritam kuntalai snigdha raktaischa gopya muhushchumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai. We are hearing this. Oh, idam te mukham bhojam avyakta nilair. What is the value of this? What is the point of this? This text that is being spoken here. The Supreme Lord, hearing this, he says, I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very happy with this desire that you have. This desire is very sweet, very strong. Please express it. Please express it more. And tell me exactly what you would like. What is it exactly that you want? What is the exact specific desire that you have in your heart? And what is that desire? Satyavrata Muni, he says, this desire is that idante mukham bhoja avyakta nila vrittam kuntalai snigdha raktascha gopya mohushchumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasya virastam. This is the desire. That this form of yours, idante, this form of yours, mukham bhojam, with the lotus-like face, which is surrounded by avyakta nilair, a very, very dark blue. Neelair. Sometimes we hear Neel in Bengali, we say. Neel means blue. So this very dark blue hair that is surrounding your lotus-like face. But what is it? It is avyakta. Very deep purport to the use of this word avyakta. Avyakta is having a very, very specific meaning. What does avyakta mean? Avyakta means beyond the understanding of the material mind or even all of the material worlds. Very deep. Because as we were saying yesterday, the vision of the Supreme Lord can come only through spiritualized senses. This is why there's a prayer. Oh Lord, appear in my heart. Manas. We might say manas means mind. But actually manas means heart. Manas means heart. Because heart and mind are the same thing in Vedic philosophy. What we refer to as the heart maybe can also mean chitta, but also can be referred to as manas. So, please appear in my heart so that my heart can be purified, and then by my heart being purified, my body can be spiritualized, and if my body is spiritualized, then I will be able to perceive you. Oh, Supreme Lord. This is the meaning. And this is the great transcendental purport. Avyakta. Because why must this meditation be done? Because the Lord's blue is avyakta. Sometimes people will say, hey, you believe God is a little blue boy? I can't believe this. This is nonsense. This is silly. This is absurd. How can anyone think God is a little blue boy? This is absurdity. I cannot accept this. I cannot accept this to be true. I reject this idea that God is a little blue boy. Unbelievable. You're telling me that the same color blue, that this color blue is the color of Krishna? And then we say, no, look at the monsoon cloud, that deep, deep, grayish, blackish blue. This is the color of Krishna. And they say, hey, what? I can point to you. So it is like this color though, just a tiny bit different. They will say like this. And Ravindra Sarup Prabhu says this is often the complaint he has. He will speak to other philosophers and they'll say, everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. This Krishna consciousness, it seems to have a lot of good points. But you think God is a little blue boy? This is nonsense. We cannot understand. And Ravindra Sarup Prabhu, he gives a very nice response. Yes, he is blue, but he is not a blue that any of us can understand. Avyakta, his hair is avyakta neelair. And so is all of his other qualities. They're all avyakta. They're all beyond the understanding of the senses. They're all completely beyond it. Completely beyond it. This is a blue that none of us have ever seen before. This is the nature of the blue. It is avyakta neela. It is transcendental. It is beyond the understanding of the material mind. There are two approaches of knowledge, the descending process and the ascending process. The ascending process is the aroha pantha. This is when we try to reach Krishna through our own logical understanding. We will never be able to reach Krishna via this means. How can we understand that Lord who is avyakta through such a process? How will we understand him? We will not be able to. But we will be able to understand him through the avaroha pantha, the descending process. And through this descending process, very nicely, we will hear. Very nicely, we will hear the nature of this Supreme Lord. And hearing it, we will maybe begin to have a desire to meditate upon it. And meditating upon it, we will naturally, very fully have a strong desire, have the strong desire which eventually makes that form appear, not only in our heart, but also before our senses. So this is the avaroha pantha. Why is the avaroha pantha great? Because it is not like the aroha pantha, which comes down. Which is us trying to go up. The avaroha pantha, It is avatar means one who comes down. It is a descending process where perfection comes down to our level. Very, very high. So like this, we must try to come to understand the Supreme Lord, because He is avyakta. We cannot understand Him. The blue that He is the blue that His hair is so wonderfully curling like this, is a blue that we do not know of. We have not seen before. And many people, they struggle with this. Islam has developed a lot of His ideas. So, same with Christianity, same with Judaism. They will say God is formless, He has no form. They'll say He is a person. But how can He have a form? Form is like this material world. How can we say this material world's qualities we can put onto the Supreme Lord? This is just us trying to make the Supreme Lord like us. They will say like this. They will have this idea. But actually, we must understand that the Supreme Lord's form is a very different form. His form is not supported. His form is not expressed within the domain of the external potency, of the Mahamaya. The Supreme Lord's form is expressed within the domain of the Swarupa Shakti, the internal potency. And this is very, very, very high. We should understand like this. It is not some cheap thing. It is not some cheap thing, the Supreme Lord's form. It is very, very elevated. And how can the Lord not have form? We are having form. Yes, our form is material, it is limited. But if we have form and the Lord does not have form, then we are greater than the Lord in this respect. And how can the Lord be all beautiful? How can He express His pastimes if He does not have form? Beauty does not exist in the mind just of the artist. It exists in the form of a thought, but that is still a form. But beauty does not exist just by the artist having the desire or the propensity for art. No, beauty exists when the artist puts paint onto canvas, gives form. In the same way, the Supreme Lord gives form, like He needs form to express His beauty. Or rather, the Supreme Lord doesn't need form, but we can tell by the nature of reality that form is the way that beauty is expressed, because Krishna expresses His beauty through form. Like this. So naturally, the Supreme Lord must have form. All of these ideas they have, or maybe they'll say, oh, if the Lord has a body, then He is made up of parts. He can't be the absolute basic reality if He's having parts that He requires. If the Supreme Lord has a body, then He needs a body. Because if He doesn't need a body, then He doesn't have a body. They'll say like this. But all of this is resolved because Krishna is His body. Transcendental. Satchidananda Rupam. How this can work, we do not know. Yam Shama Sundaram Machintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Adipurusham Tama Aham Bhajami. Brahma has prayed to Krishna. He has said, oh Yam Shama Sundaram, oh He who is composed in this beautiful Sham skin. Achintya Gunaswarupam, His body is composed of inconceivable qualities. Govindam Adipurusham, that Govinda who is the original person. Tama aham bhajami, it is He who I worship. Like this, the Supreme Lord, His qualities, His form, in everything, it is beyond material understanding. It is beyond material senses. It is beyond the mind. Srila Prabhupada, he would say this. One person once approached Srila Prabhupada and he said, he said, I have read your Krishna book. Somehow he had received. And so Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to know, well, what did you think? And Srila Prabhupada, after asking this, the man, he replied and he said, you know, Prabhupada, this person was a non-devotee. He said, the book was very nice, but at times I found it a little fantastical. It was a bit out there. The descriptions were a bit intense. So then after hearing this, Srila Prabhupada, he looked at him and he said, oh, fantastical. Krishna's pastimes are fantastical. I think you are the fantastical one to think that the Supreme Lord could not have pastimes in any way that he wants. This was Srila Prabhupada's response. This was Srila Prabhupada's understanding. Srila Prabhupada's deep knowledge, Srila Prabhupada's deep realization. So profound, so intense. He was having all of this and he was saying that you are the fantastic one to think that the Supreme Lord can be limited in any way. So like this we should understand. Avyaktam. Krishna's transcendental hair, it is avyaktam. It is it is completely beyond the understanding of material minds, of material personalities. So this hair which is avyaktam, like the Lord, beyond our understanding. Another name of the Lord is adhokshaja. Not adhokshaja, sorry. It is adhokshaja, sorry. It is beyond our understanding. Adhokshaja means transcendental, beyond even the understanding of self-realization. If we understand true knowledge, if we realize it fully, still we will not be on the platform of adhokshaja. So this is one of the names of the Lord, adhokshaja, beyond the senses, beyond understanding. So idante mukham bhoja avyakta nilair vritam kuntalai snigdha raktascha gopya muhushchumbitam bimba raktadharam. So this is it, this lotus-like face, because actually Satyavrata Muni, he is thinking, before I was meditating on the form of the Lord bound up, now I will become more ambitious. Now I will meditate on the sweet form of the Lord, the sweet face. Before I was meditating only on his form, now I wish to see his beautiful face. Let me have more hunger, more hunger, more hunger. A complete intoxication with the wondrous, beautiful face of the Lord. So like this, we find, so nicely, so sweetly, Satyavrata Muni is increasing his ambition. And not just his ambition in the sense that he wishes to no longer meditate just on the form of the Lord, but hone in on that very high part of the face. The face is very elevated. The face is a very elevated thing to focus upon. In Vedic culture, we know we pay respect to the feet. It is the feet that we are always paying respect to. Shri Guru Charana Padma, the lotus feet of the Guru. Prabhupada, Acharya Pad. These are all titles because we approach through the feet. Pada Sevanam, of the 9 forms of bhakti we have been discussing. Srila Jiva Goswami says the reason why it's Pada Sevanam isn't meaning technically that we are just worshipping the feet or serving the feet. It means we are serving with a mood of surrender and respect. Pad means approaching by the feet, which means approaching with respect. So, with this, we are coming to understand. He is not just saying, he's not just meaning this. I want to go to that very intimate part of the face. I want to focus just on this. There is not just the growing in intensity in this sense, but there's also the growing in intensity that before he was approaching as a servant approaching his master. This was the approach Satyavrata Muni was having. But this approach is gone. Now he is approaching with the desire. In Dasya Rasa, they can accept any form of the Lord. They make no real demands. But this is not Satyavrata Muni anymore. Satyavrata Muni, he is making the terms and conditions. And those terms and conditions are what? They are they are that I wish to worship this sweet form of the Lord like this. I wish to have this form awoken in my heart. I wish to have this form. He is tasting the mood of Mother Jashoda. Mother Jashoda, if she sees on Krishna any sign, any marking, sometimes Krishna, from having some sort of esoteric pastime with the gopis or Srimati Radharani, he will maybe have some mark on his body. And Mother Jashoda, she will see this mark, but she will not think, oh, my Krishna, he is engaging in madhurya pastimes, loving pastimes. No. Constantly, her heart is redefining her experience, her Krishna consciousness. And she is seeing these things and she is interpreting them all within her own Vatsalya Bhav. She is seeing them and she's thinking, oh, Krishna, he is injured. Oh, Krishna, he is having some dirt. I must clean it off him. This is Mother Jashoda's Bhav. So, Satyavrata Muni, he is tasting it now. And how can we not, if we are thinking about these great, beautiful, wonderful pastimes, how can anyone not have this desire be born in their heart? So Satyavrata Muni, he is moving up from Dasya Ras and he is moving up to Vatsalya Ras. That being said, we must not think that when he says Alam Laksha Labhaihi, that there is no use of millions of other boons. It is not that he's saying, therefore, any higher rasa is not valuable. Instead, he is merely saying that any rasa or anything below bhakti in the rasic moods of Vraj, Vareshad Apiha, Apiha here in Vrindavan. He's saying anything else other than the loving rasic moods in Vrindavan, they are all a waste. They are all useless to me. But other forms, other rasas in Vrindavan, Sakya Ras, Madhurya Ras, like this, these are not ones he is saying are useless. So we must not think that he is specifically only glorifying Vatsalya Ras. He is glorifying the mood of Vrindavan, yes, with a focus on Vatsalya Ras, but not exclusively Vatsalya Ras. Also the other great rasas he is worshipping. So we must not take inappropriately the comments of Satyavrata Muni. So he has moved up from Dasya Ras to Vatsalya Ras. But also we find a very important and significant detail regarding the nature of spiritual life, regarding the nature of greed, of attainment in spiritual existence, especially with the intent of being able to say apiha, of being able to say here in Vraj meaningfully, not unmeaningfully. Not how so many people are thinking just in geography. If I go to a geographical area, then I am in Vraj, then I am in Vrindavan. No. To meaningfully enter into Goloka, in order to do this, one must have a greed for it. If one has only the greed, if one has only the greed for what? If one only has the greed for some other form, for some other conception, then no, the benefit will not be there. The benefit will be there, but not the benefit of entering into Golok. Not the benefit into entering things so high. We go where our desire leads us to. And if one desires to see the Lord in Ayodhya, one will see the Lord in Ayodhya, and all glories to the devotee who sees the Lord in Ayodhya. How can we say anything bad about that? That is elevated, that is high, that is worshipable. But it will go where it needs to go. So Satyavrata Muni here, he is teaching us a very careful message. We must not rush like the Sahajiyas do, and he will teach especially this in the later texts, into higher things. But we should also know that we intend to go where higher things are. We should know this. We should know that we intend to go where the highest of all things are. And with this ambition, we should strive. Strive to what? Strive to taste these rasas. We should strive to understand that our goal is to enter into Golok. not into Ayodhya, not into Dwarka, not into Mathura, definitely not into Vaikuntha. Our goal is to enter into Golok Vrindavan. This is our aspiration. This is our ideal. Anything else we can ignore, we can set aside. They are not our concern. So then, how must we do this? It is not to say then we avoid Mahabharata, we ignore Mahabharata, we ignore Ramayana. All of these shastras are worshipable. My spiritual master, His Holiness Shri Srimad Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Shtotra Shada Shri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, he is very much in the mood of Braj. Guru Maharaj, he is very deeply in this mood. He is very deeply attached to the very, very specific understanding of Radha Krishna, very rasically. But when Guru Maharaj begins to speak Ram Katha, hold on to your... you better make sure you're comfortable. Because Guru Maharaj will speak for ages. Ages and ages. Sometimes, I heard once from one of my godbrothers, Guru Maharaj, he was speaking Bhagavad Saptaha. And he was going through all the cantos of Bhagavatam. And then eventually he reached ninth canto. And we know half a chapter of ninth canto is detailing Ramchandra pastimes, Ram Lila. And so Guru Maharaj, for the rest of the Saptaha, he spoke only on Ram pastimes. Even though such a small chapter, Guru Maharaj spoke the pastimes of Sri Sri Ramchandra. So wonderful, so glorious like this. He didn't even get to 10th canto, which is what everyone is waiting for. This is how much Guru Maharaj, he is absorbed in Ramayana. But are we to say then that Guru Maharaj, he is diverted? No. The way we keep then this focus is by realizing the philosophy and by realizing the depths of our mood. Yes, we enjoy Ram pastimes, but our heart is taken by Vraj pastimes. And how do we keep our heart being kept by this? Because sometimes it can be very hard. It is difficult to dictate to the heart which direction it wishes to go in. But this is why Bhagavatam should always be the center of our reading. If we are reading Bhagavatam constantly, then we will not have this problem. Then we will not be having these issues. If we are constantly absorbed mainly in Bhagavatam, we can read other shastras, but if we absorb ourselves mainly, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, ideally all the time, but other shastras, it is not blasphemous to read other shastras. But if our main focus is on Bhagavatam, we will not be diverted by other desires. Maybe though, there might be a desire to go to Dwarka or to Mathura. But if we read the Bhagavatam as given to us by His divine grace, Srila Abhaya Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Lila Pravishta, Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parivrajacharya, Shtotra Shada, Shri Srimad Abhaya Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If we read according to the purports of Srila Prabhupada, our goal, our desire will not be diverted away from the proper conception that we should have as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Then we will not be having this problem. So like this, we can naturally avert any possible complications, any possible problems. Because we should have we go where we desire. Bhagavad Gita, Antakale, at the moment of one's death, at one's final moments, what they think of, they will go to. And what one thinks of in their final moments is determined by what? By what? By their desires. By what they've spent their whole life thinking about. What they've practiced their whole life thinking about. This is what happens. This is naturally what happens. So like this, one's desires should be ready. One should be maybe not desiring. How many of us are truly desiring to go to Golok? But we should be preparing ourselves to desire for the right thing, not for the wrong thing. Not that desiring to be with Ramchandra is wrong, it is glorious. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he worshipped those devotees who were so attached to Ramchandra. What to speak then of us? Can we speak bad of them? No, not at all. We cannot speak bad of them at all. We can only forget about speaking bad. We shouldn't stop glorifying them. However, we must understand this in a balanced way. Just because we worship their desire, just because we worship their devotion, doesn't mean we should hanker for it ourselves. No, this is not proper. This is not what we should be doing. So, instead, we should be studying Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, Caitanya Caritamrita. We should be studying this text as well. And by studying these texts, then we will come to a deep understanding of them. And coming to an appropriate understanding, we will come to an appropriate understanding of the desire that we should have. And coming to this appropriate understanding of the desire that we should have, then bus. Very nice, very nice. Then we will eventually, hopefully one day, with Guru's mercy, attain such an understanding, such a realization. Because such a realization, such a mood, such a desire, we must first want it. But we do not earn it. After wanting it, we are then given it by Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he has opened up the doors to Vraj. He has opened up the doors to the vault that previously held Vraja Bhakti hidden away from the world. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he has opened up this vault. And Guru is transporting that nectar. Guru is transporting that mercy. He is carrying it down from those open vaults. And he is carrying it down to the present day, to the devotees. So, in this way, Guru is the one who is giving this appropriate bhakti in a certain mood. We should not think, as the Sahajiyas do. The Sahajiyas, Srila Prabhupada, he writes so nicely in Nectar of Devotion, they come up with all sorts of speculative ideas. All sorts of ideas they have, and they'll say, I am so-and-so Manjari in the spiritual world. And then they'll go and they'll dress up like so-and-so Manjari, and they'll imagine, I am this person. No, not like this, not this rascaldom. No. Siddha Deha, one's form in the spiritual world, that form which one will attain. And therefore all the emotions that come with it are given only by Guru. Forget about these things. Shraddha, even faith. The first stage of devotional service is given by Guru and Guru alone. You might say, hey, what? Sadhu Sangha comes after Shraddha. Anartha Nivriti comes after that. Guru is coming after Shraddha. First I have Shraddha, then I get Guru. Wrong. Sadhu Sangha means you have already having faith and you are looking for a spiritual master to be under the shelter of. But you have already received the mercy of the spiritual master. By some form, one Vaishnav has acted as the Guru who has introduced you to spiritual life. And through that Vaishnav's mercy, you have obtained Shraddha. By Guru, all things are given. And this final thing is no exception. It is not that we outgrow the Guru. Even in the spiritual world, we are under the guidance of so many people. Even in Golok Vrindavan, no one is having their Siddha Deha independently. Nobody is worshipping Krishna independently. They are following in the footsteps of one of Krishna's associates, who is guiding them. So these things come only from Guru, and we should only aspire for them from Guru. To aspire from them in any other way is inappropriate and will result in Sahajiya tendency, Sahajiya mentality, Sahajiya nonsense. So we should avoid trying to jump into these things. Because Guru eventually, even if the Guru is not there, even if the Diksha Guru has left, even if one's main Shiksha Guru has left, Still, by some way or another, Guru will reveal these things to his disciple. So like this, the proper mood is revealed, and then it is revealed within. And this is what he is praying for. Satyavrata Muni, he is praying for the purification, and ultimately he is praying that he can receive such realization. On the one hand, he is praying for internal manifestation, me manasyavirastam, for it to be internally manifested so that his interior can be purified, so his senses can be also purified, so then he can see the Lord. But also he is asking then so that these pastimes can be manifested in his heart, so that he can understand them, so that he can understand his role in them, and then he can understand all of these high things. This desire is coming. Because when does the Guru feel the mercy will come? What does Caitanya Caritamrita say? These high things do not come by millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of years of sukriti, of all sorts of spiritual attainments. They come by none of this. It comes by greed, and by greed alone. And here Satyavrata Muni, he is showing the greed. I don't want anything else. This is how much desire, how much lobha I have to feel these high things. Not that I'm pretending I have these high things like the Sahajiyas do. Not that I'm rushing in and falsely impersonating these high things like the Sahajiyas do. He is no Sahajiya, Satyavrata Muni. We can never call a Sahajiya. And we will find, especially in text 8, Namo Radhikayai Twadiyai Priyayai Namo Nanta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam. When we understand the word for this, we will understand that Satyavrata Muni hated the Sahajiyas. Only hatred for Prakrita Sahajiya, bogus rascals. He had no affection for them, and he was not one of them. But he is showing the intensity of the desire one needs to enter into Vraj. We should not hear what I'm saying and think, therefore I'm going to desire free, willy-nilly, whatever I want to enter into these high rasic things. No. We should not hear me saying these things and think that is what I'm saying. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying until we are ready to truly, with all our hearts, be able to say, before I said yesterday that if we sing these bhajans, we should think these are the words of Satyavrata Muni. Please Radha Gopinath, please Radha Damodar, give me the qualification that I can sing sincerely these words. If we are able to truly go beyond that stage and sing these words genuinely and truly believe them with all our heart and soul, if we can truly believe Varam Deva Mokshamna Moksha Vadhim Va Nachanyam Vrineham Varesha Piha Idanteva Purnata Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Virastam Kimanyai Idante Mukham Bhojam Avyakta Nilai Vritam Kuntalai Snigdha Raktascha Gopya Muhushchumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasya virastam malam lakshalabhai. If we can genuinely say kim anyaihi, that there is no use for any other thing. If we can genuinely say alam lakshalabhai, that we have no use for any other boon. If we want no other thing. If we can truly say this with all our heart and soul, with proper conviction, if we can actually desire this, if we can actually feel this, then we are qualified to understand such high things of Vraja Bhakti. But until then, we should merely continue our study, continue our sadhana, continue our japa, and be purified, but realize that this is our goal. Our goal is Golok. Our goal is not Dwarka. Our goal is not Ayodhya. Our goal is not Vaikuntha. Our goal is Golok Vrindavan. If we can understand this, then we will be very fortunate. But first we must desire it properly. So Satyavrata Muni, he is no Sahajiya. He is no false teacher. He is making a very clear point, a very strong point. First we must desire like this. Then we can be told such high things. But we must be ready. This is the point of praying these prayers, that we understand that this should be our desire. This is the desire we are aiming for. And if we have this desire, then Hari Bol, we will go back home, back to Godhead. So on that note, we will conclude for today the discussion of text 5. So text 4 and 5, we can see they're very closely related. They're very much saying the same thing. Then we will discuss next week. We will probably do a bit of revision on Monday, but then we will continue to discuss the next few texts. 6 and 7, again, they are very closely related. Very, very closely related. So we will do that couple together. Those texts are very similar, have a lot of connections. And just the same as 1 and 2 are very connected, and then 1 and 2 and 3 have some connection. Then 4 and 5 are very connected. 6 and 7, they are very closely connected as well. They are regarding a prayer for mercy, the mercy of that Damodar, who we have just heard about how he is superior over any other thing, and about the qualification to want to truly desire to associate with such an elevated Lord. So on that note, we will conclude, and then next week we will continue with text 6. Shri Shri Damodarashtakam ki jai, Shri Satyavrata Muni ki jai, Shri Shri Padma Purana ki jai, Shri Sanatan Goswami Pad ki jai, Shri Hari Bhakti Vilasa ki jai, Shri Shri A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Kartik Masa ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Nittai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Anattakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.